If you've been running peptides for more than a few months and your results have just ceased to exist, the move that most people make next is actually most likely the wrong one. See, they reach for another peptide, they up the dose, they stack something new on top of what's already not working. You need to stop that. Just stop it right now. The peptide itself isn't the variable that's going to determine whether your protocol works. The environment underneath the peptides are. And here's what's happening at the receptor level. You have chronic inflammation, which appears to reduce sensitivity in some of the receptor systems that your peptides are trying to signal through. And that same dose that worked in month number 1 barely registers in month 4. The peptide didn't quit, but the signal isn't landing. I see this every week in our peptide clinic across thousands of patients who I coach. The ones getting real results, they're not running the most peptides. They're running the right things in the right order, and most importantly, the right foundation work underneath. That's 4 layers that are going to determine whether your protocol delivers at 30% or 100%. Now, 3 of them, they have nothing to do with which peptide you're actually using. I'm Dr. Jones, DC, and today I'm going to teach you where most people are getting their peptide strategy wrong. Most peptide content treats the peptide like the lever. You pick the right peptide, you get the right result. But the truth is, it's more like a stereo system. Imagine you bought the most expensive speakers on the market. Crystal clear sound, perfect mids and highs. Now you plug those speakers into a wall socket that's putting out half the voltage. The speakers are still elite, but the signal coming through them, it's garbage. You never blame the speakers. That's what's happening to your peptides. The compound is fine, but the receptor, the thing that the peptide actually has to bind to and signal through, it's operating at half the voltage. And the reason it's at half the voltage is inflammation. When you've got chronic inflammation in your body, your immune system is essentially running a fire department of false alarms, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that alarm bell, it never stops. Eventually, the cells, they turn down the volume, down on those alarms because the system can't sustain that level of activation forever. Specific immune cell receptors do exactly this under chronic stimulation. Research has been clear on this for years, but the problem is that those same desensitized cells are the ones that your peptides are trying to talk to. The receptor that they need to bind to is dialed back. Same dose, less response. That's why patients tell me the protocol that worked in month number 1, it stopped working in month number 4. The peptide didn't quit. The receptor stopped listening. Now that fix is upstream. Before you optimize timing, before you sequence anything, before you spend another $1 on another compound, you have to prime the receptors. I call this receptor priming. It's the foundation work that turns the volume back up so every peptide riding on top of it actually signals at full strength. If your receptors aren't primed, none of the peptides on top of them are going to deliver. So what actually goes into priming them? That's layer 1, so the foundation. The peptides that go underneath everything else. If you've been around the peptide world for any length of time, you've heard this stack referenced 100 different ways. The Wolverine stack is one of the more common names out there. 2 compounds, BPC-157 and TB-500, running together as the foundation underneath whatever else you're doing. Now, the internet got this part right. The mechanism is real. BPC-157 has strong documented effects on inflammation and also on the gut lining, which matters because a leaky gut is one of the biggest drivers of chronic inflammation we just talked about. It also acts systemically across muscle, tendon, and vascular tissue, which is part of why it's the foundation. You repair the gut barrier, you lower the inflammatory load, and the receptors downstream stop being assaulted 24 hours a day. TB-500 works on tissue. It supports the cellular machinery involved in repair and recovery, particularly in soft tissue and the vascular system. The 2 of them together address the inflammation source and the recovery capacity at the same time. For patients with deeper gut issues, sustained digestive inflammation, significant leaky gut, BPC-157 also stacks with KPV as an add-on for systemic gut work. This can also be used instead or in addition to. Here's where most of the content that I see starts to break down. People run BPC and TB at doses that won't move the needle, or they run them for 2 weeks and switch to something else, or they run them on top of a gut that's actively inflamed and buy everything else that they're putting in their body. The Wolverine stack works when it's run at clinical grade doses that your prescribing providers determine for your specific situation, for long enough to actually change your inflammatory baseline. Not for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or even 6 weeks because a YouTube video told you. But even if you run the Wolverine stack, perfect clinical grade dose, sufficient duration, real product, that's just layer number 1. There are 3 more layers above it that determine whether your full protocol delivers. And the next one is the layer that everybody calls bro science, when in fact the science is settled. Now, quick break. Before we get into layer 2, if you don't have a prescribing provider who actually knows peptides, someone you can text with the vial in your hand when you got questions, or who can actually get you real pharmacy grade products works. That's what we do. You can book a free discovery call with one of our patient educators if you're interested in the real thing. Link in the description, or you can text number on the screen. Okay, layer 2 is timing. This is the layer that some people call bro science. The casual take in a lot of forum threads is inject whenever it's convenient. The timing doesn't matter. The same compound at the same dose can hit at half the strength or full strength, depending entirely on what your body's hormonal state looks like at the moment of injection. Let's talk growth hormone peptides. This is a great example. CJC, ipamorelin, they usually are stacked together. Tesamorelin, samorelin, these are growth hormone releasing compounds. These work by signaling your pituitary to release a pulse of growth hormone. The pituitary's responsiveness to that signal, it isn't constant. It's tied to insulin. Insulin and growth hormone are inversely related. So meaning when insulin's high, meaning you've recently eaten carbohydrates or even some protein without a lot of fat, your pituitary growth hormone secretion, it gets suppressed. That's well documented. So when you fire a growth hormone releasing peptide into a fed pituitary is not fed, but you get my point. You're working against a system that's already dialed down. Same logic applies to sleep timing. Your body produces its largest natural growth hormone pulse within the first 90 minutes of falling asleep. Now, during that first stage of deep sleep, for most people, sleeping at a normal hour, that lands somewhere around midnight to 2 a.m. Dose your growth hormone peptide right before bed, and you stack a clinical dose on top of your natural pulse. Dose it at noon, and you're firing into a window where the pituitary has already done its work for the day. The primary window is pre-sleep, 90 to 120 minutes after your last meal, aligned with the natural growth hormone pulse. Fasted morning is a workable secondary window for patients who prefer morning dosing, or you want to double up the benefits and take it at both windows. But pre-sleep is where the leverage is at. Patients who we coach run their growth hormone peptides in those windows. They report better results, better sleep, faster recovery, and visible body composition shifts in a couple weeks. The same patients running the same compounds at random times of the day, they don't get as good results. Okay, so I've given you 2 layers now, the foundation and the timing. Before we dive into the third, which is actually the biggest one that we're going to talk about, I want to show you what these layers actually look like in real patients. 2 types of patients that I see very often, different bodies, different goals, but the same story plays out across hundreds of cases. So patient 1 comes in running BPC, TB, CJC, IPA, and freaking tesamorelin at the same time. He's been on this stack for 4 months. He's read about it on a Reddit thread. He buys his peptides from research sites. He injects whenever he remembers, sometimes in the morning, sometimes after dinner, sometimes pre-bed if he's not too tired. He spent thousands of dollars on compounds in the last quarter. His results, his sleep is the same, his body composition is the same, his recovery from training is the same. He came to us frustrated, asking which peptide to add next. Now, patient 2 starts with the exact same compounds, BPC, TB, CJC, IPA, tesamorelin, but his protocol is different. He runs the Wolverine stack alone for the first few weeks, heals the gut, lowers the inflammatory load. Then he adds the metabolic layer once his foundation is repaired. The growth hormone peptides come last, dosed pre-sleep with proper meal spacing, never at random times. BPC, TB-500, CJC, IPA, and in this case, because CJC, IPA does the same thing as tesamorelin, we're just going to stick with CJC, IPA. This patient doesn't actually need the tesamorelin. The growth hormone peptides come last, dosed pre-sleep with proper meal spacing, never at random times. Same compounds, same total spend, but completely different protocol. 12 weeks later, this patient has measurably better recovery, deeper sleep that his sleep tracker device actually picks up, and visible composition changes that his shirts confirm. Same compounds, same money, different layer execution. Now, the first patient is doing peptides. The second patient is running a freaking protocol. Now, do me a quick favor here. If this kind of pattern recognition is what you're here for, hit that subscribe button now and turn on that bell, because we put out 2 videos every single week, dropping this sort of knowledge that helps you guys be successful with your peptide protocols. Okay, so layer 3 is sequencing, and this is the layer that the entire internet has been leaving open. The failure mode that I see more than any other. Patients come in running 6, 8, freaking 10 peptides at the same time. CJC, BPC, TB-500, tesamorelin, MOTC, GHK copper, semaglutide, maybe some retatrutide, all running simultaneously, all dosed on day number 1, all on top of an inflamed gut and a depleted metabolic state. They're not running a protocol, they're just running a freaking kitchen sink. And that kitchen sink doesn't work because every peptide that you add, it layers on top of receptors that haven't been primed yet. And every peptide that you add to a system that's already at capacity makes that signal to noise ratio worse, not better. The fix is sequencing. You layer the protocol over weeks, not over a single morning. Here's how we run it with patients in our clinic. This is the shortest version of the timeline. In practice, it stretches based on what the body actually needs, but this is the floor. So phase 1 is the foundation, weeks 1 through 4 minimum, the Wolverine stack alone, BPC, TB-500, nothing else on top. This phase is about repairing the gut barrier, lowering the inflammatory baseline, and priming the receptors. If a patient's gut work needs more time, and a lot of them do, phase 1 might extend to 8 weeks, sometimes 12. You don't move to phase 2 until the foundation is actually built. Adding peptides on top of an inflamed system is how people end up running testing 10 compounds at once and seeing very little results. Phase 2 is the metabolic layer. Once the foundation is solid, this is where GLP-1s and metabolic peptides come into play. The receptors are primed, the inflammation is down, the body can actually respond now. This one is also 4 weeks minimum, but for a lot of patients, it runs a couple months longer because metabolic work takes time. You don't rush this layer. The whole point is that the body is finally in a state where these compounds can deliver and you let them. Phase 3 is performance and recovery. This is where growth hormone peptides come in, CJC, IPA, tesamorelin, samorelin, layered on top of a primed, metabolically stable system. You'll run in the proper time windows from layer 2, and this is the phase where the visible changes start to show up because everything underneath is finally working the way that it's supposed to. Then comes the maintenance questions. BPC, TB-500, both running optimally in 12-week cycles before a break. A 4-week washout and then reintroduce the stack. The growth hormone peptides cycle on a different cadence and the metabolic layer cycles on its own logic. But the point is, none of these compounds are forever on. The protocol breathes. So here's the question for you. If someone asked you right now what the right order is to layer peptides over weeks, could you answer that question? Foundation first, then metabolic, then performance. Think about whether you're actually running it that way. Now, quick check while we're here. Let me know in the comments, how many peptides are you currently running at the same time? Right now, just let me know. 3, 5, 8. I'll jump in on the comments and tell you whether that's defensible or whether you're stacking past the point of diminishing returns. Based on what I see with patients who I coach, most people come in running more compounds than they actually need, and sometimes by a large margin. Okay, so the reason that most peptide stacks fail, it's not the peptides, right? It's that the patient is running phase 1, 2, and 3 simultaneously instead of in a sequence. Same compounds, but wrong order, wrong cadence. Same money spent, barely any results. Now, one more thing before we finish off with layer 4. If you guys want me to make a complete cycling guide for each peptide category, the healing, the growth hormone, the fat loss, the longevity, let me know in the comments and tell me which category to start with because I'm always introducing videos based off what you guys want to see next. Okay, the cadences are different for each one and we don't have time to do them all today. Now you've got the foundation, the timing, and the sequencing, but the one layer left, and if you don't get this one right, none of the other 3 are going to matter. That's layer number 4, and that's the source, and dose fidelity goes along with that. And this is the layer that I think determines whether anything else that you're doing has a freaking chance. The problem with research site products, the vial labeled BPC-157, 5 milligrams that cost you $40 from an overseas supplier, is not necessarily 5 milligrams of BPC-157. It might be 3.5, it might be 4 milligrams of BPC plus 1 milligram of a degraded peptide that no longer signals anything. It might be the wrong peptide entirely. There's no certificate of analysis verifying what's actually in the vial. There's no sterile compounding standard. There is no batch level testing. You're running a chemistry experiment on yourself with an unknown variable as the input. And if you're absolutely going to the research route, and I get it, for cost reasons, for whatever reason, I'm never here to make anybody feel bad, and I encourage you, taking health in your own matters. You have to at least send a sample of every batch out to a third-party lab for testing. Mass spectrometry analysis on each batch, realistically, that runs $100 to $300 per sample at an independent lab or university. But if you're not testing it, you're not actually running a protocol, you're running a coin flip. And this is the layer that makes, I think, timing and sequencing irrelevant at times. It does not matter how perfectly you execute layers 1, 2, and 3, the molecule going into your body is not the molecule on the label. You can prime the receptors flawlessly, time the injection in the perfect fasted window, sequence the protocol over the right number of weeks, and if the window source is gray market, you are dosing into noise. The reason some patients I coach plateau even with perfect timing and sequencing is almost always source. The fix is 503A compounding pharmacy sourced peptides. That's the regulatory category for pharmacies that compound prescription medications under USB standards with certificates of analysis required on the bulk drug substances that they source. The vial labeled 5 milligrams of BPC-157 from a 503A pharmacy is, in fact, 5 milligrams of BPC-157. The dose response curve is real. The protocol can deliver what it's designed to deliver. The patients that we coach are running pharmacy grade product because everything else makes the rest of this video useless. Quick exercise before the ranking. Let me know in the comments your current peptide stack and which layer you suspect is your weakest: foundation, timing, sequencing, or source. And I'd jump in and share what I'd look at first based on what I see with patients in our clinic. Now, before I close this out, be honest with yourself for a second. Out of those 4 layers, which one is your weakest right now? That's the layer that you should fix first. Source, sequencing, timing, or foundation. That is the prescriber's view of what actually multiplies your results. And if you made it this far, you already know peptides done right are not a YouTube comment thread. They're a real prescription, real pharmacy grade product, and a medical team that you can actually reach out to when questions come up. That's what we offer. You get your prescription from a 503A partnered pharmacy and a medical team that you can actually text when you're standing there with a vial and bunch of questions. These are bundled, not separable. The medical team comes with the prescription. That's the product. Now, quick note on fit. If you already have peptides from somewhere else and you're looking for someone to provide clinical oversight on those, that's not what we offer. What we provide is oversight on the peptides that we prescribe. So if you've got research site product and you're looking for a sourcing board, that's not what we do. And you're looking for a sounding board, that's not what we do. And one more thing, if peptides caught your attention because you're trying to fix stubborn weight loss problems at the root and you think peptides are going to help, which I agree, we actually run a coaching program that goes much deeper than peptides alone. Same number on the screen either way, guys. And if you want to find out whether or not what we offer is the right fit, book a free discovery call with one of our patient educators. Link in the description, text number on the screen, however you want to do it. And they'll tell you straight whether we're the right fit or not. No pressure either way. And if you're into the whole peptide stacking thing, guys, Receptor probably is on your mind. If you're not already taking it, check out that video next because I get into the deep dive of what will be the best to stack with Receptor. We'll see you later.